Hello and welcome to the Lion Spotlight. I'm Shane Van Buren. Joining us today is Miss Ann Moyer, who is here to talk to us during Substance Abuse Awareness Month. Mrs. Moyer, can you tell us a little about yourself and your personal connection to this cause?
Sure. I'm, like you said, Ann Moyer. I work at Mill Pond School in Lacey for 21 years. Um, from Bamber Lake, Forked River, New Jersey. I had two children. Nick and Kara both went through Cedar Creek all the way up and graduated Lacey. Um, Currently, I live in Lanoka Harbor with my grandson and his mother. And I'm just here today to share a little bit of my experience, strength, and hope about the disease of addiction and what it does to families, and to let anybody struggling know that there's always hope and there's always somebody there to listen and that will help you.
Okay. What was your son like as a child?
As a child, my son was very energetic, very caring, very sensitive, a bit of an overachiever, a happy kid, funny. He was a very funny kid, but he was aimed to please.
What about as a teenager?
As a teenager, he was into sports. Well, he was as a child too, but then he went more to the extreme sports. He was a thrill seeker. So he played, he did BMX racing for 3 years, and then he went on to work at a paintball field, and he played paintball, and he ended up being semi-pro paintball player all through high school. Like I said, he was definitely a thrill seeker. So,
That's cool. What about as an adult?
as an adult, by that time, my son obviously started to change. He had been experimenting with some drugs. He became sad, depressed, and he wasn't the same person he used to be.
When do you think he started experimenting with drugs and alcohol?
I think it was, and I'm almost positive, it was between 8th and ninth grade that summer, because we had, I knew he had taken some beer from the refrigerator, and that's when it started. And I had already talked to him because we come from a long line of people in recovery, and on my side of the family and his father's side of the family. So we were very open and warned him. So
How did this affect him or change him?
it took his soul.
Mm,
It took who he was. It took his dreams away.
what about changes to the family?
It's devastating. It rips you apart. The entire family is in turmoil for years. We dealt with this for 13 years. So as much as we loved him, it was very hard to watch somebody get lost, not be who they were, not be who you knew they were. And he didn't know how to get out of it.
I'm sorry. How did you respond when you discovered his uses of substances?
Well, I did everything I could. Like I said, I already knew a lot about addiction, and you're talking back in 2003 or before that. But I responded by, as he gradually got worse, he was already in counseling. I started there, and by the time he was a senior in high school, the SAC counselor here and I had set up an intervention in school and took him to his first rehab at his senior year of high school. When Nick came into high school, his grade point average was 3.8, and he was the top of his class, and he was all A track. He was throughout all his years. And by the time Nick graduated, he'd already been in rehab. We were lucky he graduated. And we didn't know what the future was going to hold.
What helped him?
What helped him was actually, he had heard about a program, a support group, 12-step program through our schools. And when it came to the point after rehab, after I had done counseling with him and reached out to people that I know in recovery for over 20 years in my family, my brothers, talking to him, other people we knew, he had to make a decision because I told him it was time. You need to make a decision on what you're going to do because you cannot live here like that.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, I know what I'll do. I'll go to those groups. And that helped him for a long time.
What helped you?
What helped me? When he got help, when he was willing, we had a little relief. Back then, there wasn't as many people speaking out about it. So we were all secluded in our own little families that were going through it, and nobody knew. I have a girlfriend that helped start a group with me. That's now a girlfriend. Both the boys graduated high school together, both parallel tracks, both with the disease of addiction and heroin users. Neither one of us knew that the other families were going through it, and that was very typical then. And now everybody has so much support to utilize to help parent going through addiction, a sibling watching another sibling or a family member go through addiction. So there wasn't as much as that then, but you know, I could talk to the people like my brothers and all, and it was some hard stuff I had to hear, like he has to do it.
Yeah.
You can just get educated about it when he's ready. And that's hard stuff to hear, but I was always there for him. And yeah, that's the only thing that helped is to talk. And
What would you do differently if faced with the same issue today?
I don't believe I would do anything differently. I did a lot. I mean, I still have a folder that when he was ready at times I would hand him. It was a list of rehabs because he had to call. Like I said, I had him in everything that I knew to do then, interventions, rehabs. It had to be his choice. So on my end, I wouldn't do anything differently.
Was he able to get clean?
He was able to get clean periods of time. He dealt with that addiction for 13 years. Throughout the time, he had 8 months, 9 months, 3 years at one time.
What did he do during that time?
When he had the 3 years clean,
Mm-hmm.
he, by that time, was 25. What he did was he now had a girlfriend that he was very close with. He had a child. He went back to school. During his addiction, he was able, through the clean time and living in recovery houses at college, he did graduate Rutgers with a degree in 2009. Later relapsed and used. And then later, like 2010, he met a girl. They were very close. And he had a child in 2011, went back to school, and got his license, certified drug and alcohol counselor.
What caused his relapse, and what was the outcome?
Well, what caused his relapse was Nick forgot to take care of Nick. He was always a people pleaser, helper when he was clean, and he really wanted to reach out to other people and help them. And he put so much into that, like he did everything he ever did, whether it be paintball, baseball, his playing his guitar, making music. He put so much into helping other people, he forgot to take care of himself. At that particular time, he was around someone very close to him that was using. Don't know if he tried to help, but I knew that. He knew that for a little while, and then one night he just decided to do it one more time, is what he said.
What is life like now?
Well, the outcome of that one more time is Nick passed away that night. On June 7th, 2013. We buried him June 10th, 2013. Nick was born June 10th, 1985. He was 27, and I buried him on his birthday. And what's life like now? It's sometimes it's okay. His struggles are over. He battled for 13 years, and I mean battled. He used to cry because he was an addict. He knew he had a problem, but what he didn't know was way back then in 8th and 9th grade when he decided to pick up for the first time that he was going to become addicted. When he started to experiment, he was going to become addicted. And then he hated it, and he couldn't get out of it. I mean, he had times that he was, but he just couldn't stay consistent with it. He just couldn't stay consistent and gave in. So I forgot the question.
What is life like now?
What is life like now? It's okay sometimes. And sometimes there are days I just do this all day. Like I said, he had a child. That grandson lives with me, my only grandson. Looks like his father, acts like his father, smart as his father. His mother lives with me. The three of us are muddling through, so to speak. Every day is a struggle for us, but you know what? There's always hope. There's places for me to go for that. And there's places for my grandson, and there's places for her to go to get help, because when you sit and struggle alone, even with something like I struggle with him gone, you hold so much in and secrets die in the light of exposure. So to get out and talk about it to anybody, there's people out there that won't judge. And they shouldn't be judged. We need to stop this stigma, as I believe. So for me to get help just by talking about what happened in our family is the same way somebody thinking of using, knowing somebody who uses, or somebody that is already addicted can find a group, find a counselor, find a SAC person, somebody, and you won't be judged.
You are involved with an organization called Sophia. Tell us what this is and your involvement with the organization.
Sophia is, I told you about my girlfriend who came to me two years ago after Red Night Out. 1 year ago, I think it's about 1.5 years ago. Both boys had passed the same year, both graduated. They both knew each other. We didn't know each other, we're going through this, and we wanted to do something, so we came up with starting a group called Sophia, Support of Families in Addiction. And it's a group that you just come to, no one judges you, you sit and you share what you're going through with your family of, whoever is in your family that is affecting the entire family. And just to get it out, they feel better. We have resources there so they can get more help. There are resources there to bring back to the attic. There's a counselor there. The kids can come. So if they're affected, they get taken into a separate room. It's every other Tuesday night, first and third Tuesday of each month at the Methodist Church on Lacey Road from 6:30 to 7:30. It's basically for anybody that wants to learn more about addiction or just needs support if they have a family member or a close friend going through addiction.
Thank you for joining us today and for sharing your experience.
You're
For
welcome.
WLTS, I'm Shane Van Buren. Thank you for watching today. We'll leave you with a song written by Nick Moyer.
He was always told to mind his manners, not to curse, not to fight. Always respect his parents, but something lacked in his life. They brought him to a church, but his rules so hard to live by. He tried but left still hurt, and then he found a little get hot and scared little boy. Found something to fill his void, and he never knew his life was about to be destroyed. All he knew was that he had a void, and he could feel it. So for a long 8 years, he lacked any control. The flame to his candle was a needle to his soul. On the whole, for a while, he thought that he could manage it, handle it with ease, but his life he was dismantling. Piece by piece, it started to unravel. Within a year or two, it was a full-out battle. World War III going on up in his head. Discussing with himself, he had to stop it, he'd be dead.